Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, the fifth hurricane of the 2016 Atlantic hurricane season, Matthew, is packing 130-mile-per-hour winds, bearing down on Haiti and Jamaica as it churns across the Caribbean Sea. These images posted on social media show Jamaica has already gotten several inches of rain. The slow-moving storm is now within about 300 miles off Jamaica and Haiti, set to unleash torrential rainfall before making landfall in Cuba. Reed Binion reports.
This particular hurricane, by virtue of its trajectory, will have a severe impact on Jamaica.
Jamaica's Prime Minister underscoring the seriousness of the threat posed by Hurricane Matthew.
We are expecting that there will be landslides. And that will mean also damage to agriculture.
Forecasters warning that Matthew will bring life-threatening flash floods. Some Jamaicans, though, are ignoring pleas from authorities to leave the threatened coast.
I just feel like to stay here. I think I'm safe over here. I'm from here, so I will die here. Well, I stay in Ivan and Dean, so I will stay in Macho.
The massive storm churning in the Caribbean also threatening Haiti, where the infrastructure is still fragile after the 2010 earthquake that rocked the country. Cuba also bracing for Matthew's impact, as U.S. officials evacuate hundreds of employees and their families from the naval base at Guantanamo Bay. The National Weather Service said Sunday that it was too early to say what Matthew's effect would be on the United States. And while the impact on the island nations in the Caribbean is expected to be serious, some remain optimistic.
The resilience of Jamaicans will be demonstrated at the end of this episode.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Now here's a bird's eye view of Hurricane Matthew. The powerful storm weakened overnight to Category 4 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. Matthew had strengthened to a Category 5 storm on Friday, making it the strongest hurricane in the Atlantic Ocean since Felix in 2007. Rick Knobb, who is the director of the National Hurricane Center, says hurricane hunters will be flying in and out of Matthew in the coming days. The hurricane is expected to move closer to Jamaica, Haiti, and eastern Cuba, as we just reported, by late Sunday or Monday. Now, here in the Virgin Islands, Territorial Emergency Management Agency, they continue to monitor the weather systems. VITEMA's director, Mona Barnes, is encouraging the community to also monitor weather reports and to be ready in the event a storm threatens the U.S. Virgin Islands. For more information on how to prepare, visit or call VITEMA's offices at 340-773-2244 on St. Croix, 340-776-2244 on St. John, and 340-774-2244 on St. Thomas. Governor Kenneth Mapp has addressed the sudden eviction of some elderly residents from Seaview Nursing Home last week. According to the governor, he and Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter spoke to the families of residents on Saturday and laid out the current status of Seaview. News 2's April Knight has that story.
The eviction of patients from Seaview Nursing Home could have been handled better. That's according to Governor Kenneth Mapp, who called a press conference following the chaotic transfer of patients from Seaview last week.
I'm personally sorry for the manner in which the patients were abruptly moved without the appropriate consultation with the family members.
Last week, Monday, Human Services abruptly transferred 3 patients to Schneider and 7 to Queen Louise Home after getting a letter from Housing and Urban Development to remove the patients right away. But HUD reportedly later insisted that they were asking for a plan, not an immediate evacuation. The government got backlash from shocked families whose loved ones were forcibly removed by ambulance, including Patricia Testomark's 74-year-old mother. This Monday, Governor Mapp rebuked one newspaper for saying he didn't even apologize to the families.
Ms. Harley, who was the first person to express her concern about her family member, I stepped up to Ms. Harley, looked at her directly in her face, and as governor of the territory, I apologized to her.
But after all of the apologies, Governor Mapp still made clear that staying in an unlicensed, uncertified facility is not an option for VI residents. He says they're working with families in considering other options in moving out their loved ones. Some lawmakers who spoke to News 2 said the facility is not as deteriorated as it's portrayed to be. The governor, meanwhile, said his administration is looking ahead at what happens to Seaview from here on.
With Dr. Heath, we believe we have found a strategy in which the government of the Virgin Islands can acquire the assets at Seaview, that we can put money and fix the structural deficiencies at Seaview.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
VIPD's acting chief, Winsbuck McFarland, the Criminal Investigation Bureau and Special Operation Bureau initiated on September 30th Operation Clean Sweep and Operation Don't Talk, and executed 10 arrest warrants from Friday, September 30th, with the last individual arrested on Monday, October 3rd, today. Today, Acting Chief Winsbuck McFarland on St. Croix, Acting Chief Jason Thomas, and Chief Investigator Lieutenant Robert Matthew on St. Croix held a press briefing to announce a complete roundup on this significant 3-day police operation.
The Virgin Islands Police Department and the Operation Division, we've been doing a series of initiatives.
The VIPD is performing a clean sweep.
In efforts with the Special Operation Bureau here on St. Croix, as well as working closely with the Criminal Investigation Bureau on St. Thomas and the Attorney General's office here in the Virgin Islands, have renewed our efforts to take some of these criminal elements off the street. We had 2 operations conducted over the weekend, one of which was Operation Clean Sweep, and this was conducted on the 30th day of September.
The Criminal Investigation Bureau and Special Operation Bureau executed arrest warrants.
Mr. Elroy Tung, he was arrested and charged with unauthorized possession of a firearm, failure to report a firearm brought into the VI. Mr. Kareem Ambrose, he was arrested and charged with assault third. This is stemming from an incident in Croyville that happened back in June 6. Additionally, Kareem Matthias, a.k.a. Stinky, he was arrested for attempted murder, felony possession of a firearm during a crime of violence, also reckless endangerment, and unauthorized possession of a firearm. This stemmed from a matter from the U.S. District Court. Carter Baskus, robbery first, bail set at $100,000. He's got a free room. David George, Ahmed Francis, unauthorized possession of a firearm. They were located and they're presently at Golden Grove.
A 17-year-old minor was also detained.
Mr. Lennox Cabral was also arrested based on a warrant for unlawful sexual contact. This stems from an incident in which the matter was brought before the court and a warrant was issued.
Remember, you can call the Criminal Investigation Bureau on St. Thomas at 340-774-2211, on St. Croix 340-778-2211, or Crime Stoppers.
We want to show the community that we are out there. We are going to do what we have to do to make sure that our community stays safe. We are working together, so it is a unified effort on behalf of the Virgin Islands Police Department. And again, just want to thank the public and the community for everything that they have cooperated with us. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes.
September 29th at approximately 9:15 a.m., Mr. Ethelbert Burt C. Benjamin, Jr., age 56, of Christiansted, was arrested for rape first degree after a 20-year-old female stated that he raped her. Mr. Benjamin was remanded to the Golden Grove Detention Center pending advice of rights hearing. Also on Thursday, September 29, about 5:44 p.m., the 911 emergency call center reported a possible drowning at the Independence Boatyard located in Friedenhoy. Upon arrival to the scene, officers made contact with an unresponsive Caucasian male laying face up on an orange flatboard and was attended to by responding emergency medical technicians. The male was pronounced dead on the scene and was transported to the morgue at the Roy Lesher Schneider Regional Medical Center. The identity of the deceased is being withheld pending notification of his next of kin. Well, the New York State Attorney General's office says the Donald Trump Foundation is violating state fundraising law and has to stop raising money in the state immediately. The issue, the foundation never registered for the certification of any charity must have in New York if soliciting more than $25,000 a year from the public. This follows reports that Donald Trump may have gone 18 years without paying federal income taxes. Emily Schmidt shows us how the question played out on the campaign trail Monday.
In an election year, there's the campaign trail. And there's the paper trail, with the New York Times publishing parts of what it calls Donald Trump's 1995 state tax returns. They show a $916 million loss, enough not to pay federal income taxes for 18 years. Monday, Hillary Clinton worked to show those trails intersect.
In a category by himself, there's Donald Trump.
Clinton said Trump was taking from America while leaving everyone else with the bill.
It seems he was contributing nothing to our nation.
Trump supporters spin the story differently.
The man's a genius.
There's no one who's shown more genius.
Pointing out the New York Times did not find Trump did anything illegal. Hillary Clinton's response:
what kind of genius loses $1 billion in a single year?
Trump has tweeted he knows the tax laws and can fix them. In Virginia Monday, Trump tried to steer the conversation in a new direction, seeking to turn a critical focus back on Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton's only experience in cybersecurity involves her criminal scheme to violate federal law, engineering a massive cover-up, and putting the entire nation in harm's way.
The timing makes it difficult to avoid tough questions. The vice presidential debate is Tuesday, the second presidential face-off Sunday. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Keeping our eye on the economy, 100 days after the UK voted to leave the European Union, London's restaurant scene is booming, with openings 50% higher than last year. Since then, Britain has kept going. Big Ben still looms large over the Westminster. The Lions sit proud in Trafalgar Square, and Churchill guards Parliament just as he did in 1973 when Britain entered the EU. Facebook's latest app will focus on users with slower internet speeds. The social networking site announced Monday it's launching Messenger Lite. The app is a slimmed-down version of Facebook's popular messaging app. Messenger Lite is designed for lower-end Android devices and takes up less space on smartphones and tablets. It rolled out Monday in Kenya, Tunisia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Venezuela. The company says it will come to other countries in the coming months. Here's a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers there, everything down. The Dow 54, NASDAQ 11, S&P 500 down at 7. Coming up on NEWS2, Jamaica is bracing for Hurricane Matthew. The major storm is about 200 miles southeast of Kingston. Hurricane warning remains in effect for Jamaica, but tropical storm conditions continue for some areas. Also, the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico Friendship Committee officially kicked off Virgin Islands Puerto Rico Friendship Week on Sunday at the Bottle Park. We have highlights. Welcome back. The Education and Workforce Development Committee met at the Lowett's Conference Room on St. Croix to consider a bill codifying the Parent-Student School Participation Act and a bill related to homeschooling. We'll have more on Tuesday's newscast. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico Friendship Committee officially kicked off Virgin Islands Puerto Rico Friendship Week on Sunday at Bottle Park with the Fiesta del Bate, where there was dancing in the streets. The celebration included conch blowing by Junie Bamba, poetry reading by several school groups, and a great display of the quadrille by Alexander Henderson School. Now, other events this week include Thursday's Sacred Service Night and a softball tournament, and Friday, the opening of the VIPR Friendship Village at Canagata Ballpark. Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs on Thursday educated some St. Croix seniors on how to spot scams and avoid falling prey to them. The department was hosted by St. Croix chapter of AARP during their Fraud Watch Network Forum as the organization seeks to arm its members against fraudulent transactions. NEWS2's April Knight has more.
With all the different scams and schemes victimizing locals recently, the St. Croix chapter of AARP put together the Fraud Watch Network Forum, where DLCA Commissioner Devin Carrington spoke specifically about scams.
Scams are things that happen all the time. Happen to me, they happen to younger people, they happen to everybody. And we're going to try to make you aware of how to spot scams and how to deal with scams.
Carrington said there's actual science behind scams used by ingenious scammers. Scammers, according to Carrington, start off with earning your trust. Some even pose as friends or relatives to try to get money from potential victims.
The scammer wants to build a relationship with you so that you will not question his or her motivations. That's the first step. He may use social media to learn more about you. In other words, he's studying you.
And then they try to sound bona fide or legitimate, directing victims to business pages or websites.
Invariably, these websites or Facebook pages are fictitious.
Carrington said it's imperative that consumers keep their head on straight, even in the face of time-sensitive offers. Check and double-check and check again. The bottom line is to protect personal and financial information.
Credit cards give you additional protections, such as the opportunity to reverse the charges. Be wary of anybody that requests alternate forms of payment, such as wire transfers, prepaid debit cards, or gift cards. But I know one thing, we're not stupid. And so we need to make sure that when something sounds too good to be true, you verify.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
That is great advice. The Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority continued its conversion to propane on St. Croix, and officials say it could cause some interruptions in services this week. According to WAPA's CEO, Julia Reimer, WAPA staff, they're reviewing technical data each day during this stage of the testing. There are 3 units on St. Croix being converted to propane. Unit 20 is the one being tested at this time. Unit 16 and 17 will be tested shortly after.
WAPA Executive Director and CEO Julio Reimer Sr. said over the weekend that beginning on Tuesday, October 4th, residents may experience short-lived service interruptions as technicians carry out a series of power rejection tests. These tests are used to evaluate the unit's reaction and response to forced outages or unanticipated drops in load. For the last week and a half, plant personnel along with technical staff from General Electric and Vitol have been testing generating unit number 20's ability to burn propane. And Reimer said all has gone well to date.
Governor Kenneth Mapp has announced that funding has been made available to make repairs to sewer lines. A total of $750,000 will be used to make sewer line upgrades in Christiansted and Company Street and near Metro Motors on St. Thomas. On St. Croix, VI Waste Management Authority, in partnership with WAPA, will be replacing deteriorated sewer lines, manholes, and more located on Company Street in Christiansted. On St. Thomas, Waste Management will be replacing approximately 550 feet of 8-inch diameter sewer line and repairing related manholes along 2 sewer interceptors within Estate Anna's Retreat in the vicinity of the Gomez Elementary School, Metro Motors, and Four Winds Plaza. Coast Guard is warning mariners to start making preparations for Hurricane Matthew. The Coast Guard is reminding the public of the following safety messages. Stay off the water. Coast Guard search and rescue capabilities degrade as storm conditions strengthen. This means help could be delayed. Boaters should heed weather watches, warnings, and small craft advisories. Stay clear of beaches. Heights and currents typically increase before a storm makes landfall. Even the best swimmers can fall victim to strong waves and rip currents caused by hurricanes. Be prepared. Residents should be prepared by developing a family plan, creating a disaster supply kit. Well, powerful Hurricane Matthew is moving northward over the central Caribbean Sea. This warning was centered at about 220 miles southeast of Kingston, Jamaica, getting closer and closer. Maximum sustained winds are near 130 miles per hour with higher gusts. It's a Category 4 hurricane. Some fluctuations in intensity are possible during the next couple of days, but Matthew is expected to remain a powerful hurricane through early Wednesday. Find out where hurricane warnings and tropical storm watches are in effect. Weather is coming up.
Hurricane Matthew is certainly still the dominant feature on the weather map to start the week. We're even getting some of those little feeder bands moving into the region. The heaviest of the rain so far, at least in our area, has been across southern Puerto Rico. So go through the next 24 hours, there certainly is the potential for some flooding into the more mountainous areas. We could get a couple of showers to move into the Virgin Islands as well, although they'll be less numerous. Clouds will be widespread, and it is certainly breezy. The waves swelling up a little bit on the Caribbean side. Satellite estimated radar shows some of those bands developing during the afternoon. Overnight, they'll lose some of their intensity as we lose the sunshine and the daytime heating as well. But certainly tonight, a few gusty showers, maybe a rumble of thunder as you head westward. Temperatures will stay pretty mild, near 80 degrees. Brief showers expected for all of the islands into the day Tuesday. Matthew very slowly moving northward. So until it lifts out of the Caribbean basin, it's going to kind of be a pest, but again, well off to our west, so we're seeing the least of the impacts here in our area for sure. 89 in St. Thomas with a couple of brief showers once again. And watch for those passing showers in St. Croix. Sunshine should probably be limited once again, but we'll look for improvements across the entire area through the second half of this week once Matthew makes its way into the western Atlantic. Waves will be about 3 to 6 feet on the Atlantic side. Winds out of the south and east, 15 to 20 knots throughout the day Tuesday. Small craft advisories will be allowed to expire at this point. Still could get some occasional waves around 9 feet on the Caribbean side, though, so do keep that in mind once you get away from the coast. Winds will be out of the south and east, could gust up to 25 knots at times. Your extended forecast has, again, a good chance for those showers Tuesday, but they'll become less numerous Wednesday into Thursday. We finally settle back into our trade wind pattern Thursday into Friday. Temperatures will stay seasonably mild in the upper 80s to low 90s through Saturday. Sandy, back to you.
Thanks for that. Let's look at our news to weather picture there by Zinfari Dyer, first grader representing the LCR Community Learning Center. Picture there of some smooth sailing with some sunshine, but not so smooth with all that action out there near Jamaica. Zinfari, thank you for that. Send us your news to weather picture to the address on the screen. Be sure to include all the information and then tune in to see it right here on News 2. That is all for now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sandra Gomansing. We'll see you next time.